Hey guys, it's Gracie, and I want to let you know that there will be spoilers in this video for Riverdale Season 2, all the way up through Episode 5. So, if you have not caught up, please wait to watch this video until you have been caught up, and click off unless you want to be spoiled. And just so you know, ignore this this watermark. I'm very poor, so I cannot afford the premium version of the editing software that I use, so it makes you post it with the watermark, so it'll be annoying. Just ignore it. And so I'm going to start off with I'm going to tell you why I feel that Hal Cooper is the Black Hood. Now, knowing how TV shows are and how TV show runners are, all of my evidence may be debunked later on in the show because they love the element of surprise. But all of the evidence that I have gathered up into this little ball of who the Black Hood is, I feel like it should be Hal Cooper because of all of this. And I'm not saying I'm going to be right. This is just a theory. And I feel like I most likely will be wrong because of the fact that I feel so strongly about this. Most of the time when I watch TV shows and I feel strongly about something, the writers throw me off with something later. So, but I will tell you all of the things that I have thought up. And firstly, let me get all of the lame theories out there, all of the dumb reasons why Hal could be the Black Hood. These are just little things that aren't really like important, but so firstly, he hasn't had that many lines in season 2. He barely talks. His wife literally went into an emotional breakdown in episode 4 in front of him and his daughter, and instead of comforting her or trying to say something, he just sat there and watched her like cry in front of them. And I don't know any husband who does that. I mean, we all know that Hal is kind of a shady man. But I mean, even after his wife just like breaks down and she walks off, he doesn't even go to like see if she's okay. That's just weird to me. And I mean, I'm not saying that's a tell, but it's just another tell that I thought up. Also, he did have a few lines in episode 5, and this was the first episode that they almost told us who the Black Hood was when Betty went to the abandoned house. So I just thought it was funny that his first lines in season 2 were in the first episode that we almost got told who it was. And also, there's evidence in this show that fathers in the show haven't been the greatest. I mean, in season 1 we found out that the killer was Jason's dad, and maybe in season 2 we're gonna find out that Betty's dad is the killer. I mean, and we already know that Hiram Lodge he's not a killer, but he may have hired people to kill. I mean, there's speculation that he has, so the whole father thing is a big theme in Riverdale. So that was just another kind of dumb thing I thought about. Also, as a joke, well, not as a joke, but just thinking about it, when season 1 ended, my little sisters and like my family and I, we were all wondering who could this Black Hood person be? And who was it that shot Fred Andrews? So I kept thinking about it, and I was like, the only character that we know of in Riverdale who has the same body type as the Black Hood is Hal Cooper. Nobody else really has that body type, or like the skin color. Sure, I know the eyes are not the same. He does not have green eyes. They haven't zoomed in on Hal Cooper's eyes before, but I do know that the actor does not have green eyes. He has blue eyes, but still. Doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong, but also when Moose was in the hospital after getting shot in episode 2. Archie brought up the green eye color thing to him and Midge didn't exactly say yes or no to the green eyes. She did say that his eyes were terrifying, but she did not say yes to green eyes or anything like that. And it has been said sometimes that when a person goes through a traumatic experience, that they sometimes, their brain like twists some details in the story. Like someone could say that they saw a 5'2" woman and then later on find out that the perpetrator was a 6-foot man. So things like that do happen. So maybe Archie, in his mind, after the whole Pops Fred Andrews getting shot thing happened, his brain told him that the Black Hood had green eyes, just because subconsciously he does not want the killer to be somebody he knows. So that's just, those are the little dumb, points that I have found. But let's get to the more important ones, in my opinion. So this killer has been attempting to kill people based on their sins and crimes, and the first person that he shot was Fred Andrews. Now, we found out that the reason Fred Andrews was shot was because of the fact that he's an adulterer, because he had kissed Hermione Lodge and went on a date with her or whatever at the drive-in. But not a lot of people know about that. The only people that really know about it are Veronica, Fred, and Hermione. And then Veronica told Archie. But Alice Cooper is also another person who knows. And we all know that Alice Cooper loves gossip. And when she has some gossip to tell and no one to tell it to, who else will she tell besides her husband? So, I mean, not a lot of people know about Fred and Hermione, so how would the Black Hood know unless the Black Hood was Hal? Now, another person with a secret that no one really knows about would be Miss Grundy. Now, the only people that know about the whole Miss Grundy and Archie Andrews thing are Grundy Archie, Betty, she wrote it down in her diary, and then her mom read the diary. And then her mom went and told Fred, went and took him from the drive-in date he was on with Hermione, when she said, "Sorry to interrupt your adultery, Fred," so she knows about that, and took him to Miss Grundy's classroom to reveal everything to Fred. Now, she knows about this, but after the conversation they had about Miss Grundy leaving town, they all promised each other that no one would say a word. It would be kept a secret, just so that she wouldn't get arrested or anything. And again, Alice Cooper loves to gossip, so who would she tell about something that juicy to? Her husband. So Hal has to know about Miss Grundy, which is also just a big secret that not a lot of people in Riverdale even know about. The list of people who do know about that is very, very small. And we know that Hal may know because of his wife being a gossip and knowing herself. Also, we know that Alice is a very good reporter. She knows where to get the juicy stuff from. Now, think about Moose and Midge being shot. They were shot because of their dealings with drugs, the fact that they were doing drugs. Now, that's another secret that not a lot of people knew about, except the night of episode 4. Just please go back and watch episode 4, when Pops was about to close. No, episode 2. Go back to episode 2 and watch when Pops was about to close. And Betty thought of the whole event to keep it from closing, her mother was there and taking pictures of things she found interesting. Well, one of the pictures she took was of Reggie handing Jingle Jangle through the car window to Moose and Midge. Now, Alice Cooper is another person who knows about this. She has a picture on her phone. At any point, Hal could have gotten a hold of her phone and saw the pictures and thought, there's drugs in this town. There shouldn't be drugs in this town. Maybe I should go do something about it for Betty because of Betty's speech. So that night he goes and finds where Moose and Midge are and shoots them. Now, on to the whole Betty thing. Now we know after episode 5 and episode 4 that the Black Hood has been doing all of this attempted murder thing because of the fact that Betty made a speech at the Jubilee in season 1, and she was talking about how the town needs to be better. Well, the Black Hood also said that he cares about Betty and wants her all to himself. Now, I know that sometimes parents do irrational things for their children. Alice Cooper is a good example. And who's to say that Hal maybe didn't take Betty's speech the right way and decided he needed to protect her? So he began to, let's say, do irrational things to keep the town protected for Betty. And he cares about her, and he wants her to be happy. I mean, what father wouldn't, you know? And also, not to mention, he knew about Betty being obsessed with Nancy Drew as a child. I don't know how the Black Hood would know about that, if it was just some random stranger in town. How would he know about Betty's obsession with Nancy Drew, unless it was her father? Also, I find it a little creepy that a 40-year-old man would be obsessed with a 16-year-old anyway, unless it was her father, because he just wants to keep her safe. That makes sense to me. And in Betty's notebook, check back and see in episode 5 in season 2, look back at her notebook when she's writing down all of the things that she thinks she knows about the Black Hood. She wrote down somewhere that she thinks that he may have a daughter. Hal has 2 daughters. And also, Hal isn't really known for who he doesn't like besides the Blossoms. We know that history, and we do know that everybody in town has a weird, some sort of history or connection to the lodges, and who's to say that Hal doesn't as well? We do know that his wife has some issues with the lodges, so he may as well, and that's why in episode 5, the Black Hood, if it were Hal, were to tell Betty to get rid of Veronica as a friend, if he doesn't approve of a lodge being a friend with his daughter. He also would be the type of person who doesn't want his daughter dating someone who lives on the south side, meaning Jughead. Right after getting rid of Veronica, the Black Hood made Betty get rid of Jughead. It would make sense for a father to feel his daughter wasn't safe dating a south side child. So those are some of those theories. I also want to debunk a theory while we're here. There's a lot of people who believe the Black Hood is Betty's brother. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it will not, cannot, and is not Betty's brother. If I'm wrong about this, then the writers made a mistake. Because, first of all, we have seen lots of Instagram and Twitter pictures and videos of Hart Denton, who is playing Chick Cooper, Betty's brother. and he's quite skinny, much skinnier than the Black Hood is. And in episode 5, we are told, the Black Hood told Betty that she would definitely recognize him if she ever saw his face. Betty has never even met her brother. Her mother has not even met her brother. So how could she recognize him if she doesn't even know who he is? So, and also the Black Hood cares about Betty and is doing this stuff for her. Her brother doesn't even know her, so he can't be doing this stuff for her. So that's why I'm debunking the Betty's brother one, because it does not make any sense for a lot of those reasons. And so back to Hal. In episode 5, we find out that the Black Hood was thinking about hurting Polly. And he even told Betty that he knows exactly where Polly is hiding. The only people who know that are the Coopers. Because as far as we know, nobody in town even knows Polly is gone. The only ones who do are Alice, Betty, and Hal. And they're the only ones who know where she went as well. So unless this Black Hood has been spying on the Coopers since the girls were born, I don't know where a lot of this would be coming from. Now, we also do know that Hal has some weird resentment to the fact that Polly is even pregnant, because he wanted her to get an abortion. Yes, because it was an incest baby, but also because of the fact that she's a young mother. He even tried to make Alice get an abortion. So him threatening Polly is not exactly a shock, and he could also just be lying to get Betty to realize that it's not her dad. You know, he could just be threatening Polly and not actually even hurt her, because her being upstate, who knows if she's actually going to get hurt unless news travels very fast. So he could just lie about hurting Polly. So that's where I stand on that issue. Also, please, 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 this one may be a reach, but I really like to reach because it's fun. And reaching for evidence is kind of my thing. Please go back and watch episode 4 again. Watch the town hall meeting. My little sisters and I did this a few times. We paid close attention to see if we could see Hal at any point, and he's only seen 2 times. And during the whole Alice versus Fred thing that was happening at the town meeting, Hal could have left at some point, and he could have found a way to rig the lights to turn off at a certain time. You can do that in public buildings like schools, churches, you know, town halls. You can set a timer for when lights should turn off. And he could have done that. And then the second the lights turned off, he could have left. This is why I believe he may have left, because when Betty and Jughead show up to warn everyone that the next target was going to be at the town hall, Hal stands up and he disappears at some point. So this is Hal, this is Alice, okay, and then this was Betty. Betty was like diagonally in front of her mother talking to her about the next target. And then the camera was like where my face is. And then the lights shut off. Hal could have left. And then Betty ran to turn on the fire alarm. And as she ran, the camera followed her this way. And you see her pass her mother. But then her dad's just not even there. Like, that's just really weird to me. Now, I know that that's a reach. And it's probably just a camera thing. Maybe they didn't have a stand-in for the actor that day, and he had already left set when they shot Betty going to turn on the alarm. But I'm just saying that's another like little tiny clue that could be a factor in this whole thing. And now let's get to Alice. So, when Alice finds out that Betty posted the article about her being arrested as a teenager in episode 5, she told Betty that she had gotten rid of all evidence, all archived photographs, newspapers, anything. Wiped the slate clean so nobody would know that she had been arrested before. If she had done that, how would the Black Hood retrieve this mugshot photo unless it were Hal? Alice told Betty in season 1 that she has told Hal some things that she wished she never did about herself. This could totally be one of them. And it would make sense. Because let's say Alice goes, as a reporter, she knows how to dig. She goes, she digs, she finds all of the copies of her mugshots, newspapers, everything. She gets them, brings them home, destroys most of them, but misses one or keeps it and forgets that it's there. Hal could totally have found it in the house and thought, you know what, let's have Betty post this on the school newspaper and let it go floating around town. Why would he do this to his wife, you say? There's a lot of reasons for that. So, when you watch season 1 and Betty accuses Hal of killing Jason, or at least stealing the files off the wall from the sheriff's station, Alice starts laughing at him. Like, basically in his face, about how he doesn't have the guts to do anything that ballsy or do anything that crazy, and how he would definitely not be the one to do that because he's too much of a wimp and he doesn't have the stomach for it. Now, being laughed at by your wife in front of your daughter is quite humiliating. Hal could want revenge for that. And he could also want revenge for the fact that she's basically been acting like the head honcho of the family. Even in season 1, you see that he does talk, but he barely gets time to because Alice is always running her mouth. And she basically makes the town think that she wears the pants in the relationship. And he might believe that that is just as humiliating as being laughed at by her. Now, he wants her to be knocked off her high horse, which is what the Black Hood said. He could have decided, in all of this, I'll get rid of Alice as well because she irritates me and Betty. And the Black Hood says that to her, and he says, your mother has been a thorn for both you and me, and that's just weird that a random stranger in town would say that because they haven't spent as much time with Alice as Betty has, or Hal. So if it were Hal, that would make sense. Now, look back at the party in episode 5. If you've seen episode 5, I don't even have to explain to you which party this is, because we all know the Alice Cooper entrance that happened here. So think back to just before Alice gets there. Hal is all smiling. He doesn't smile that much, but he's all happy, joyful, everything. And he even walks over to Hiram Lodge and starts a conversation with him. And when Hiram asks where Alice is, he says that they agreed that he would be the only one to show up because Alice was so torn by the mugshot. But when she gets there, she doesn't seem so torn, does she? That could just be the dark Alice. But when he says that they agreed together, it kind of seems more like he agreed and she was just like, okay, you can go by yourself, whatever, I'll show up myself also. Because the way he said it was just kind of like, oh yeah, she and I both had a talk. And it just kind of sounded like he manipulated her to stay home or something like that. And he seemed happy to be at a party by himself so that it looked like he was the one wearing the pants in the family for once, you know. But she ruined that by wearing what she wore and showing up. I mean, so yeah. And then she's... Anyway. So... He even... Let's talk about the fact that he even had the guts to steal the police files in the last season. I mean, Alice was saying he doesn't have the guts to kill somebody. But he was at least, you know, strong enough to go steal police files, which is against the law as well. And if he's, you know, willing to do that, maybe something could set him off, like Betty's speech, to make him commit another crime. And so that's what I have got so far from season 2 up to episode 5. Couple of evidence things from season 1. You know what, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I would love to know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Again, this is just a theory. I'm probably wrong. I just really want to express to people who don't believe this theory as to why I do believe it. And, you know, leave some suggestions down there. Let me know what other videos you'd want me to do. And, you know, if you want me to do crack videos or edits, I mean, I'm really not talented when it comes to making edits. I'm really not that good at them at all, but I still enjoy making them. Maybe I'll get better. You know, tweet me. I'll put my Twitter accounts down below. Yes, I have more than one Twitter account. I'll also put my Instagram down below too. I can do videos for Riverdale. I watch Bones, Once Upon a Time, Sherlock, Friends. I'm a big Evanescence fan. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. I even translated some Evanescence songs to Elvish. If that's something you would be interested in hearing, I don't know. Maybe I'll pull out my ukulele and practice. And if you guys want to see or hear some Elvanescence, I call it, let me know. I'm also a big True Blood fan. Claws, The Walking Dead, Witches of East End, Bates Motel, Twin Peaks, Cougar Town, Ghostbusters, Saturday Night Live. I love Pushing Daisies too, and I'm also a big fan of American Horror Story and Empire. I was Cookie and Lion for Halloween this year. You'll find my Halloween costume on my Instagram account, so check that out and on my Instagram too. And you know, just let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, give me a thumbs up, whatever, and thanks. Bye.